snaps now?
Huh?
All snaps you have.
No, only this is fourth, I think.
The next format indicators on which we are concentrating are date format models. So internally Oracle stores every date in the form of a numerical format, that's what we said. So whenever you're dealing with your date constructs, even the format models for the dates are prescribed by Oracle. And whatever kind of format model you are using, according to that your Oracle can start presenting the dates to you. Now whenever you supply any format model, each format what you are trying to provide with respect to its own individual representation is considered as one character of format model. So you can say that in this particular case, totally we are having this 5 plus 3, 8 format indicators are there. So whenever you come to your date format models, when you declare the format models, we have already seen in yesterday's class that they should always be declared in single quotes. So when your format models are declared, as far as date is concerned, not more than 22 characters length can be there. If your format model is exceeding more than 22 characters, then automatically you get an error. In such cases, you have to cut short the format model and then go for concatenations as per your necessity is concerned. This restriction you should always remember. The maximum number of format models that can be used as far as your date is 22 characters. Now when we start working with the date format elements, a date format element can be a combination of one or more number of format elements. It's not like only one, it could be a combination, but you should always remember similar format elements will be there. What do you mean by similar format elements? If you just go to the previous class, we had currency indicators, let us say, when we had a currency indicator as dollar, we had a currency indicator as L, we had a currency indicator as C. So these three kinds of format models are basically considered as similar format models. Be very clear about that. So when you are working with similar format models, you should always keep in your mind that the format models, when they are input to the process, input in the sense when you are inserting the data or when you are updating the data, the similar format elements cannot be repeated. So you have to use only one particular type of format element in the process. Be very clear about that. So you cannot go for input format models which are similar by nature multiple times. On output formats, you can use these format models any number of times. Output format models in the sense, whenever you are selecting the data. In selection, similar format models can be repeated, but in inputs we cannot repeat them. You need to always keep this in your mind. And capitalization is automatically followed. What do you mean by capitalization in the sense, if you are declaring your format model in uppercase, the output will be in uppercase. If your format model is declared in lowercase, the output will be in lowercase. So such capitalization intelligence is all automatically existing with respect to your date format models that are happening. Be very clear. So you don't need to specially use once again a conversion function like, so you need not use functions like uppercase or lowercase separately. And you can use punctuations like your hyphens, colons, forward slashes and all such kind of things. Any date or calendar oriented punctuation marks can be implemented. Every date internally is containing, starting from the seconds to the centuries, up to centuries calculate. So everything in the date is embedded with respect to its existence. The only thing is you should know how to collect and how to put the request for the process. So I want to know whether my particular date is AD or BC indicator, let us say. I can always call my AD or BC indicator and I can put a request to my Oracle to give me the return status. So if you just watch here, we are just calling select, we are just saying today is, and then we are just going down with sysdate, and I'm concatenating with 2 underscore charo, and I'm calling sysdate, and I'm just trying to say that show me the indicator to the corresponding century state. Now even though I declared my format model as BC, we are not instructing Oracle that give me BC. Try to understand this. We are telling Oracle, we are instructing Oracle that go to the contact of my sysdate, and within my sysdate, what exactly is running in the system, give me that. So this is not an instruction. Be very clear about this. This is only an indicator. So once we give this indicator, your system will internally try to identify what is the state that is running to that particular piece of the date, and according to that it will start reacting. So I'm just trying to give an alias of today, and we are seeing from Jewel. So you can just watch here, today is 19th December 13th AD. So we gave BC doesn't mean that it will return BC. So internally this is working, the current date is working on which particular indicator to the specific century, that will be returned to you. So this is only an indicator. So if I declare AD here, what are it? Returns AD, that's it. You can either declare AD or you can either declare BC over there. That's where you should end it. If you are giving dots, you should definitely give dots on both the sides. If you are not giving dots, you should not give on both the sides. So keeping the dots, not keeping the dots is up to you. If you are not keeping, you should not keep. If you are keeping, you should keep for both. You can't keep for one and then leave the other ones. Be very, very clear onto the constructs. Now when you just get on with the process, even the dates that are stored within our database also, they will be managed with these indicators. You can just watch here, we are calling name, and then we are just trying to say higher date concatenated with 2_char of, I'm calling higher date comma, we are just trying to say B dot C dot, and then we are just trying to say give the higher date from EMP. So when you are executing this, we can just want for all the employees is returning that they have been recruited in the AD. Now according to your format standards, if you start following through the issues, now if you just watch here, I am removing this dot here, I have removed on both the sides. Now when I am executing this, it just gives me the specification very clearly to what we have represented there. Therefore this is only an indicator, it is not an instruction. It definitely goes and contacts your particular database server, and in the server, whatever the date is registered with, at the time of registration, whatever kind of indication is there, it will show you. So if I am having any PC dates, will it gives me PC dates? Definitely it will give you. Until we do not insert any PC dates, we may not get confidence on that. We are currently having only dates registered to AD. When we are dealing with how to handle the PC dates, we will check all those issues. Now the next basic indicator we have is your criteria and composition of a meridian indicator. Behind every time there is an AM or PM. So you want to know the meridian of the time, let us say, then you can always call you AM or PM. You can just watch, you are saying select the current meridian in my clock is, I'm just trying to say 2_char of, we are saying sustain comma, my clock is running with AM, I'll just try to give an indicator as PM. Now once we are doing this from Jewel, you can just watch here, it's giving AM. Means what we declare, it's not going to consider that directly. It goes and contacts the corresponding clock, and this is only an indicator that has been provided by us. Internally, whatever is running in the process, that will be considered and that will be returned to us. So, try to understand the composition. Therefore, you just want, I'm changing my clock status to PM, let us say. Since my clock is currently running with PM, it returns PM. Now, when my clock is running with PM, I'm just trying to say this as AM, let us say. Now, it will go and contact through the process and whatever is running, it gives you. Therefore, this indicator, any indicator is not an instruction, it is only an information how that particular corresponding format has to be applied. It's only an information. Don't consider these indicators as instructions. Be very, very clear about that. Therefore, what is happening to the state of the data, that will be returned for us. So there is a very clear proof that behind every date we have a time. So can we see the time? We'll just check out. Now the next one we have is the CC. Now technically when you are working through the process, CC is called as current century. And actually when you are dealing with the composition of the data, what happens is, within the databases like Oracle, you can see that it's keeping the dates that are ranging from January 1st 4712 BC to December 31st, 9999 AD. Now, there is some concept called as timeline of the calendars. But okay, I'm not going into the construct of the philosophy of the calendar management and everything, but one simple construct we should always understand when we are dealing with the compositions. Actually, when you take any kind of timeline, timeline always has a component to start and a component to end. It works on that way. So, on the process, we have a timeline for the sake of any specific historical management of the time. Now, on this particular timeline only, we have taken some decisions. We took some decisions like how exactly we need to manage our calendars, and we started moving down with that particular piece of the perspective. Now, technically, if you consider this timeline, the rule of universe says that it has to be balanced. Now, if today you are saying that it is 19th December 2013, then how you can confirm that this is exactly a date that should be accepted? So why we are accepting that today is 19th December 2013? Why it can't be something like 20th January 2025? And why we are saying this is basically something like we are in the construct of 2000 year. There is some methodology with which these calendars have been designed. But you should always understand universally all calendars are not same. We are following one particular calendar that is forced. The simple thing you can always understand, an Indian can understand very easily about this. Actually what we may consider in few days as a new year is not actually considered by Indians as new year. Depending upon the culture, creed and the different kinds of races in which we are integrated, in India different places of the people will celebrate their new years in different times actually. I mean, this is a very clear proof that calendar management is universally not same. Means by the state of their own culture, every culture has designed their own calendar. But why we are following the current calendar that is available? This is a universally accepted calendar for business. When we do business, we need to have standardization of the calendar management or date management, else business cannot be conducted. So when I am conducting a business, I need one standardization. Suppose like I am saying that I am taking a loan from any of the bank, let us say, by stating that my loan is going to be repaid in another 1 month. Now technically, according to the English calendar, say like it's December, it is definitely expected that I need to pay in January 2014. But according to my calendar, let us say like it is not December, it is basically with respect to my calendar, it is somewhere around March, let us say. Then if I am saying 1 month, it's understood. I am saying that no, I will pay you in January. You are understanding that it's the next month, but I am understanding that from March when the January comes, I will pay you then only. These two kinds of situations cannot be balanced in the business. So we are forced with one universal business calendar. This business calendar is decided on which factor? Every calendar is decided with some historical state. So the historical state only manages the calendar for any country, for any kind of environment that is existing in the world. Be very clear about it. So on a technical perspective, if you are concentrating, this business calendar has been accepted on some construct. Is on the timeline, we should be balanced for something now. So there is some datum of representation for this. Now this datum of representation is given by the association of understandability. If I am considering that this is the origin of my particular calendar as a requirement, then in the history, at some specific stage, there is an identified composition. There is definitely one identified composition in the history, considering it as 0 year. Means within the historical state, the historians have identified that we have one particular year from where we are saying that our historical states have started. They are picking up the construct of the process and they have given some formulations. And what are those particular formulations? We are not interested in going into all the theory now, but they said like, let us consider that there is one historical state in the world, and relevant to the historical state, we are saying that there is one year called as what? 0 year. But how to accept that this is a 0 year? From where we started? So they made two different kinds of timelines to move on this now. So what are the two different kinds of timelines they have made to move now? If we can understand this historical state only, we can confirm those timelines, else it's not possible. So let us make the world identify one event, and that event should be accepted by the world. The calendar has to be accepted. And that event is decided by whom now? Now nobody can come and say that I am deciding this particular event now. So definitely this event was decided by Europeans, especially Britishers. Because these people, in the name of business, they almost all ruled every country in the world. So technically, they have almost all went to every country in the form of business states. And they started occupying the areas. Now, when they want to do the business and they are dominating, definitely, they will put their calendar into the picture. Now, at that particular point of time, historically, when the countries were very weak, we have to accept the enemy who is very strong. There is no doubt about it. That's how we Indians are also forced by this particular calendar. That's it. If suppose this particular calendar has to be overruled, means we have to identify ourselves as what? The most mightiest powers, and we have to propose our calendar once again. See, the world is controlled by the person who is most stronger. That's it. So these people at a point of time when they started ruling the whole world, they want to do business. The concept is business, but the second thing is occupying any country. In that particular process, what they did is, they established their calendar. So their calendar constructs on what? They considered that, in the history, let us consider that there is a state called as 0 year. And for this they have associated and they have given one particular timeline, because any timeline will be containing two sides of its existence. And in that particular perspective, from here, if you consider, there is a timeline to this side. In this direction, we have a timeline of representation. This is one direction they have identified and they have specified through the process. And the same way, there is one more timeline in the same construct on the other side. So to this side we are having the other timeline. So technically, this side of the timeline is for some specification. Now what is that particular piece of the direction now? If you want to understand this direction, first we have to understand from where this event has started. So they fixed this event as to their identification. They made that particular event to be recognized and accepted. Death of Christ. That's how they have identified. Because they said like, this is the biggest event as far as our lifestyle is concerned. So this is a proposal of the process, what they have forced to the world, saying that let us consider this is the biggest event that everybody in the world can identify and then accept it. That is what is the proposal. When they started ruling as colonials in the world. So they have taken this as the biggest timeline. And they said like, from this date, definitely a year will be 365 days in a process now. So what they said is, 365 days from here on the positive side. If 365 days have been completed on the positive side, we will consider this as after death of Christ years. And 365 days on the process with respect to the compositions means, in this way every 365 days are counted now and every year is passing on. That's how we say 2013 we are very clearly agreeing and accepting that it is 2013th year after the death of the Christ. We just started counting the history from there. And anything that is taken to the process on the left side now, because timeline should be balanced definitely. Any system in the world should be balanced. Now on the process of that, if you are concentrating, they said like technologically there are years on the left side of the history of the timeline now. In this way, there is some balanced state of history that has to be identified, and on this concept only any software that is available in the world will design what? The calendar algorithm. It has to, because this is some business calendar that is proposed by those people. Say like you say, sir, I don't want to follow this calendar. Technically, I hope so, it's impossible in the world today. The simple reason is, it was a forced calendar on the system. Maybe many people were patriots in those days in our country also. When a Britisher said that, now you have to follow my calendar, maybe he also said like, why I should follow your calendar now? I am also having my own Indian calendar taken. And that guy could have given 2 bullets and 1 lathi now. So if I don't accept a calendar, 2 bullets are given to me. Who in the world will not accept this calendar? Everybody said that calendar is better than a bullet now. So they have taken it. So that's a concept now. That's what I say. The world rules on the mighty of the person. That's it. So this calendar management is happening in this country. Therefore, according to that calendar management, the CC and SCC are given. Means what? I just want to make it very brief. You just check here. This is my 0th year, let us say. 365 days completed from there. So automatically what happened is, my calendar identified that 1 year has been completed on which side? On the after death of the Christ side. They have considered this and they said like 1 year got completed. If 1 year has been completed on this side, means from that day, if 365 days have been completed, then definitely before that also something has happened. A person who was living before that, he was telling the people, no, in my age that was happening when I am small, it has happened. He said, all that is captured now by the people. And they said like, gentlemen, this is 1 year back from this same year. From the same year of 0, there is 1 year back data also. That 1 year back data, the people said that it is -1. So that is -1 century. And in the same way, the world never stops now. From here once again 365 days have been moving. So automatically we reach the 2nd year. Now if you reach your 2nd year in the process, because of your calendar management that is arising in the process, this is 2nd year after the death of the Christ. Then technically at any point of time on the timeline, definitely 365 days from there, once again somebody can tell you the history. If that gentleman started telling the history, this became -2 year. That is nothing but 2nd year of the BC. In that way, if we are saying that today we are, say like, in the year called as 2013, let us say. That's how we reached 2013th year now. And we are saying that it is 2013th year after death of Christ. If you are saying that, then in the history, to balance the process, definitely to balance the process of the history, we definitely need a composition of 2013 year also. It should be there. You can't say that it will not be there, because there's rule of astronomical calculations. So this is how the world gets balanced now. That's where we are trying to find out what happened before, what happened last. Every object in this world has its own calendar, okay? We are following this as a business calendar. Be very clear about that. You are following what?
Yes.
Which calendar you follow now? Your date of birth. Your date of birth is the biggest event for you. So you have your calendar. Okay, so if suppose anybody is asking you when your year is starting, my year starts when I was born. When your history has started, the day when I was born. What is before that? It's my BC. Finish. So, anything what I do not know, what I have not seen is my history. What I have seen is what my experience. This is every family has its own calendar. Every generation has its own calendar. But for business process, we follow this calendar. Therefore, you should understand this SCC. SCC is called as signed current century. Signed current century means if your date is a BC date, then if you call the century, it will give you in negative form. Negative form means your century is BC. When you say CC, it never gives you any kind of sign. It just gives you the century. So when you use CC, you don't know whether it is AD or BC. It's a century, that's all. But you want to make it very clear whether it is a BC or AD century, then you should always use what? SCC. If it is a century in after death of Christ, it will be plus. Means no sign will be given to you. If you want to know whether it's BC or not, if you say SCC, minus will be given to us. Means now we are in which century? 21st. Yes or no? If we are saying that we are in 21st century after death of Christ, definitely in the history of timeline, minus 21 century is also there. So why we need this kind of calculation of the process? In the initial stages, this was only for business. But today, this calculation is for computing and also any kind of research. We have to follow this calendar. We can't avoid this now. So if we avoid this calendar, we have to rewrite everything in our research once again. The reason the world never touches the calendar compositions, be very clear. So everywhere in the world you go, traditionally they follow, maybe they follow their calendars, but they adjust their traditional calendars to what? No, the business calendars. So that's what is going to happen. So technically it is one mechanism. That's an adapted process. Now we can't eliminate it because we have already written the history of the process now. That's why this has one great importance in major number of researchers. Can you just tell me the area where these calendar compositions of CC and SCC impacts the world today? This is the only thing that makes greatest number of researches to happen in the world. You just watch carefully, I don't take too many examples on the concept. You just watch carefully. If suppose like a oldest dead body is found of a human being, let us say, I think all the media channels and the scientists are very much concerned about the oldest dead body only. So like suddenly they say like in France in some Alps mountains we have found the dead body of a human being. It is considering that it is absolutely 800 million years old dead body. How the scientists know that it is 800 million years old? Whenever somebody is dying, we don't put a time stamp and make him get into the graveyard, I hope so. But the whole channels in the world, the whole media and everybody is concentrating there. The world's archaeological scientists, they move there and they start doing their experimentations on that particular piece of the dead body. Every country that does such research, they say like, please give us at least part of that particular piece of the dead body, we want to do research. Why they are so much worried about that oldest dead body? You try to give a flash news and breaking news by saying that latest fresh dead body is available. Nobody will come here. Why we are so much worried about the oldest? There is some sense behind that research. You just you can do an experiment, carry one latest fresh 5 minutes back dead body on your shoulder and start roaming in this market. Say fresh dead body for sale. People will run away from you. Nobody will come towards you. Can somebody say, why don't you purchase this a fresh one when 5 minutes back only? But the same thing, you just try to keep a dead body on your shoulder and say that it is 50 lakh years back dead body. You and the dead body both will be kidnapped at a time. If you are not ready to give the dead body, they will make you a dead body and they will take that dead body definitely. Why? Why so much important? Even a small fly of 400-500 million years is found, all cameras in the world will zoom that fly immediately. They will take the fly very carefully, seeing that at least one leg is not lost in the fly, and they will keep it in one very wonderful area, secured, and most probably security cost will be 50 to 60 crores a year. You try to take such security for your dead bodies. It's not possible. The reason is there is some sense in analysis. The total worry of the human being today is what? total worry of the human being is what?
When Earth was.
When the whole world will collapse. All useless things in the world he will do. And he'll think like, because of the world will collapse. When it will collapse? So we want to make a timeline. The timeline process is, if I found a human being who is 800 million years old, it is very clearly saying that since 800 million years this human race is continuing. Means on the timeline, if there was a dead body for 800 million years old, the rule of the universe says that till another 800 million years human beings will live, definitely. Means I can do useless things for another 800 million years, no problem. We are very happy about that. The same way, if suppose a fly is found which is 125 lakh million years old, then they'll understand that okay, there was some kind of living organism in this world 125 lakh years old. Means definitely from there they will capture. If fly was there at that time, was human being was there at that time. If human being was not there at that time, when a human being came into this world, from that particular time, means from fly to human being, how much distance of time is there? They'll check out. And then they'll calculate now. The calculation is what? Fly was born in the world first, so it will die first, no doubt. So when all the flies in the world will be dead, and if the flies are dead, then from there how many years it will take for human beings, all human beings to die once again. So the calculation will be done. This is where this constructive system will help us. Therefore, presenting current century, what it will tell us? See, databases are designed by the state of the research-oriented process that takes place in the world. Should never forget, databases are the source of information storage for real-time requirement. So we are always worried about databases will store banking data, this data, that data, any data in the world. How much timeline of data they can go back? The maximum timeline they can go back, the maximum historical state we can collect. So the CC and SCC are indicators provided by Oracle by calculating the state of the algorithm. Be very clear about that. So when you call this, it's very simple now. When you are calling this, it's so simple. You just want, you're trying to say select the current century is, and I am going with 2 underscore Caro. I am calling this date. Then I am just trying to say CC. What is the current century that is running in the clock? It just tells me. Now it's not giving me any symbol. Means definitely it's nothing but what? 80. If it was, say like I'm trying to say SCC. You just watch carefully. Before this, when I was not using SCC, only CC, how many spaces were there before this? 1. Which is basically what I gave in my format itself. Now I am saying SCC. You watch 1, 2. So this is showing that the sign is not there, but it is what? AD based. If it was BC based, then definitely you will get minus there. We will check when we insert BC dates into our system. When we exactly insert BC dates, we will understand this particular piece of the process. Now, we can just call it in our own sensible state with multiple format indicators. So what do you mean by that? You just watch, I'm saying comma, I'm saying B dot, C dot. So this is how we can use multiple different format indicators together. So according to your necessity, you can start using your format indicators. How you make use of a format indicator is only your consciousness of your understanding. Now we are just going ahead of the process and we are moving down through the construct. Say like I am saying sysdate, then I am just concatenating through the process and I am just trying to go with this. So you just watch 19th December 13, 21 AD. How you present your dates and all that, it's only your interest I am telling you. Therefore, learning the format indicator is different. Presenting the indicator in a better way is different. Now in this you can just if you want any kind of punctuators, you can call them. So what do you mean by punctuators? I want string based data in this, I should keep it in double quotes. You just watch, I'm saying century colon with this. So when I am going with this, you can just watch here, 19th December 13, century 21 AD. How you make a presentation of your day, it all depends on the way you plan and move on with the indicators. Now indicator you can remember, but combinations you have to always practice. Now the same construct you can just watch, we are saying select ename comma, I am saying higher date, concatenated with, we are calling to underscore care of, and then we are moving down with higher date, and then we are trying to say same with respect to the process like century, and then I am just trying to say CC comma B dot C dot, and then we are closing down through the process, and I am just trying to say employee, or I will just say higher date to make it more simple. Then I am just going with from EMP. So King is recruited on 17th November 81, century 20 AD. So this very clearly shows me that how exactly the date composition of the century can be adapted. So when you start working out on the process, where exactly that indicator plays a role, you should know how to call. A week is a collection of 7 days. I want to know what is a weekday running in my clock. I can call my D. Numerical weekday, where always a number per weekday starts with Sunday as 1 and ends with Saturday as 7. You can even call your weekday with DAY, which gives you full spelling of the weekday. Full spelling of the weekday. Therefore, you should always remember one thing, whenever full spelling of the weekday is given to you, it will always use you with 9 pads, because Wednesday is the lengthiest weekday. So if suppose you are having Monday, let us say, then automatically Monday is already what now? 6 pads. So 3 extra spaces are always there to the left side, you should not, to the right side you should not always forget. So we can even give the weekday in numerical form, we can give the weekday in full form, and we can even give the weekday in abbreviated form, DY. DY always gives you the weekday in abbreviated form. It is nothing but 3 characters, Monday, MON, Tuesday, TUE. In which way you want to represent your weekday, you can specify. So you can just watch here, we are just taking up the process. We are saying select the current day of this week is, and I am going to underscore care of, I am saying state, comma D. I am going with numerical weekday. So I am just trying to go with the process, and I am saying weekday. And I am just saying from June. We are on Thursday, so you can just watch the 5th day of the week, counted from Sunday. We can just take the same construct and we can say ename, comma, higher date, comma, to underscore care of, you are saying higher date, comma, D. We are just going with weekday, and we are going with from EMP. So all the employees recruited and their corresponding weekdays. So I just want to know all those employees who are recruited in my company with respect to the 6th day of the week. 6th day of the week, so equal to 6. So all my business transactions done on the 6th day of the week of any year or anything. So how to make it only by year wise or month wise? We just start, we will check everything. So I can definitely get through my process by saying, get me the business that has been done by me between my first day of the week and third day of the week. So my business done between the first day of the week to the third day of the week. We can pick up in the process of filter. So my date filtering is becoming easy for me in my business now. Now I just don't want to go with this 1 and 3, means I don't go with numerical, let us say. In such a kind of construct, you can call down your abbreviated state source. You can just watch, select, I'm saying, today is, I'm just going with, you just watch, 2 underscore care of, I'm saying sysdate, comma, DAY, I'm closing this, I'll just keep a comma here itself, and then I'm going with sysdate, concatenated with, 2 underscore care of, sysdate, comma, and I'm just trying to say, CC B dot C dot, and I'm saying today from Jewel. Today is Thursday, 19 December 13, 21 AD. So I think we are giving a better presentation of the date, I hope so. Now you can just watch, Thursday is 8 characters meant, 1 extra space came you watch. Because Wednesday is 9 pads. So that extra pad will be coming. So I don't want that particular pad. We will see what is the indicator we have to use there. You can't use anything like, say like generally immediately student comes and says, I will use trim functions and all this thing. Maybe sometimes trim can help you to remove that space. But trimming is not the correct format. In dates, to avoid those extra spaces also, we have own format indicators. We'll check that. So, how best you represent your date, that depends on you. So we can just say ename, comma. You just watch, we are calling down with to care of higher date, and then we are just calling down with the date, and then we are just closing down this concatenation with higher date. Then I am going to underscore care of higher date, comma, and then I am just saying CC, comma, B dot C dot, let us say, and I am just saying higher date from EMT. So definitely, you just want all my employees, they were recruited on which weekday, to the date, to the century, what's represented in the process. So here you can just watch, I'm having my pads. Friday is only how many pads? 6 pads. But internally it's having extra 3 pads. Because of the Wednesday, this will come. So whenever day is spelled, weekday is spelled, it comes with 9 pads. Now you just watch properly. I'm going with my composition of this by saying where. Now I'm calling my specifications very specifically to the construct, and I'm just trying to say is equal to Friday. Now I'm removing this extra space. The way you declared here, this is init cap declaration. You should also give format indicator for representing the what now? The value in init caps only. Now I wanted to cross check very carefully. On Friday, do we have any employees?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Allen and Mr. Blake. Yes or no? But you just watch what it says. No rows. This is where the student gets confused. You should never forget that whenever you are working, there are 3 pads internally. So when I gave you those 3 pads, you watch, it gives you. That point you have to always remember. In this case, instead of keeping 3 pads this side, the total space are coming to the extreme right side or left side now?
Right side.
Right side. So I can always consider myself using a trim function. Even though this trim function is not correct function, at this stage you can accept it. What is the exact way? We'll see. At At this stage, even if you give this, I don't say you don't get your marks. You get your marks. Maybe if one of your other friend is coming in the interview room and is giving in another way, he may take half a mark more. That's all. Therefore, so can't I use function? You can use, but with the date, maximum we should cover up with what? Indicators. Everything should be done with indicators only, because Oracle provides you such facilities. So do recognize those compositions very carefully. So, can't I directly check for the sake of my business to what day I am trying to do that business? Now in this you can just watch, if I am not interested in the full form of my day, I can only say dy. The moment I said dy, you can just watch, it gives you abbreviated weekday. So weekday is given in how many forms?
3 forms.
Weekday is given in how many forms? 3 forms. What are they?
Number.
Numerical weekday D, abbreviated weekday dy, and full form of weekday day. Okay? So Oracle provides you 3 different kinds of weekday indicators. Whichever is demanded by your business, you can utilize them. Then every month is a collection of 1 to 31st date, in which few months can be 30, few months can be 28 or 29. But you want to know the day of the month, DD. So when you are putting the day of the month with DD, it will tell you, you just want select, we are saying the current day of this month is, and we are saying to underscore care of, we are going with this date, comma, DD. So we are just trying to say month day, and we are going from jewel. So we are on the 19th day of this month. So can't I separate the day part of my particular date what I am having now? In this construct we can definitely separate with what now? ename comma higher date, when we are trying to move with the process. And then we are just trying to say to underscore care of, I am saying higher date comma DD. So I just want to say month date, and I am just going with from EMP. So all the month days is separated. Means from my date, I can generally will ask the student, can you just give me only the day of this month from the date? He'll give you one date, and he'll say, can you give me only the day of the month from this date that is available? Many number of students who do not have clarity on conversion functions, out of 10, definitely 4 will give the answer with substring. Using substring, what they will do now? There is a substring of higher date comma 1 comma 2. It will give you the result, but technically I don't think it will give you marks. Because we never asked you basically for something. We asked you whether you can remember your particular format indicators with conversions. You cannot blame an interviewer saying that, sir, you did not tell me that I should use to can. Why? I will tell you. I'll check what is your approach. Therefore, never ever use the substring like functions or anything on the composition of what? The dates. So you gave us one example on that day. That day we don't know the conversions. The day we don't know conversion function, therefore I have to give you example with that only. As we go on learning, so you have to get mature, be very very clear about it. So when I am working on this, can't I make a business analysis of my data for a particular day of the month by using my weight loss assessment? I can always directly say between 1 and 15, let us say, is all my business process between 1st and 15th of the month. So every conversion can come into the filter, and it can start working down through the process. So every indicator has its own essentiality as a process. Then we have DTD, year day indicator. Now technically you can just watch, we are saying select the current day in this year is, and we we are just going with 2_care sysdate, DTT. 3 T's we are specifying. So I'm just trying to say year day from dual. So we are in the 353rd day of this particular year. So moving down through the process, Oracle can give you any year day by calling with what? DTT. So behind every date it will be there. Means I am saying select E name, then I am just going with the higher date, and I am just going with 2_care. I am going with higher date, DTT. Then I am just moving down with from EMP. The year days when my employees have been recruited. I can definitely calculate and check my business transactions with respect to a range in which they have been taking place by saying 325th day. So after 325th day in my company, which transactions have taken place. So I can just make my business filters more better on the calendar or not. No? So you can just check the way Oracle stores the statement. Externally date is DTMONYY. But once you apply a to_care conversion function and supplement with the corresponding format indicators, I think it's really looking too different by its nature. The same way you can even go with IW. 1 year is a collection of 52 weeks. You want to know in which week you are working. You have IW and you have WW. Okay, there are 2 kinds of year week indicators. When both at a time I'm working out. WW always considers that a year is 53 weeks. Why? Because we have 365 days, let us say. With 364 days, exactly 52 weeks are completed, 1 day is left over. If it is a leap year, 2 days are left over. So when you use WW, what it considers is that extra 1 day is falling into the 53rd week, and it will pull that. That basically makes some kind of calculations in the business inappropriate. So when you come to the ISO standard IW is ISO standard year week indicator. In this, what it does is, it is either 52 weeks or 53 weeks. In that way, it will be adjusting. The difference will come only in the last weeks of your process, but not every time. So where the difference arises, ISO calculates where your year is starting, where your year is ending. That's why it will consider. Means suppose like your year is ending after Wednesday, let us say, means December 31st is ending after the criteria of the process, let us say, of the calculation of the process, it may add that 1 extra we can give you. Why? Because it's only a business-based calculation. So sensitively all business environments will never check. But ISO makes a correction on that mistake. It's only going to affect us only in the last weeks of the year, not always. So you can just watch your, we are saying select the current week in this year is, and we are calling 2_care sysdate, IW, and I am just saying year week from dual. So when we are trying to move on in the constraint, you can just note we are in the 51st week of this year. The change will come only the last week's. Be very clear, therefore any other week will not affect. If the client feels that it's not an irregular scale, you can always go with what? -1 and start working with him. So if I feel that I want to keep it in 52nd week, what I have to do now? I'll say -1 of the result and I'll always go for the sake of what? 52nd. So you don't need to worry about the last figure of the process, it's an internal calculation of the calendar management by Oracle. Now in the place of this, you can even go with what? WW, and you can start working. So every date that is registered in my database, whether I like or I do not like, it doesn't matter. I can always go with the composition of my particular year week. So these are the different weeks in which the employees have been recruited for those corresponding years. Now I just want to make a calculation of the process. Get me my business data which is absolutely operated on after the 45th week in my particular system. So can't I know my business week by week of the year very perfectly getting calculated now? When we are registering the date, we are only registering this. But Oracle is internally calculating how much of information behind that you just check. The date is just not a data type, but it's a very complicated state of a class in object state in the system. The same way we have IYYY, 4-digit year indicator. If we are using I, it is ISO standard. So what is this ISO standard? Universal standard that is followed anywhere. According to ISO, just catch me one point. Just now I was saying few minutes back that if it is say like BC year, we said minus 2000 will be there. Yes or no? So according to ISO, it never believes that minus. ANSI believes that negative years. ISO believes only years. But how I can know whether it is BC or AD? So what ISO says is, if you want to know whether the year is AD or BC, use AD and BC indicators, but don't don't expect the sign indicator on that. Therefore, when you are using IYYY, it is always considering that it's only year without a sign. If you want to know whether it is a BC year or it is a AD, then you have to use externally the indicators like what AD and BC, and then you should know. But when you come to the ANSI, ANSI will also give you 4-digit years YYYY. Here also you can use AD and BC, no doubt. But if you want to make it quick in analysis, you can use SYYYY. When you are saying SYYYY, it is going to give you the years with BC as what? Minus sign. So, sign is followed by ANSI, sign is not followed by ISO. That's the difference you should check. Are you catching the point now? So, I want to know the 4 digits of my year. What is the doubt we were having from many number of days? I think we close it today. This year is we are calling 2_ char of sysdate, YYYY. And then I just want to go with, in this I just want to make it more specifically clear. Century, CC, B.C. So when we are moving down with this, we are just saying like here. From Jewel. So 2013, century 21 AD. So now my year is basically in 4-digit form. In the place of the YYYY, you can even use what? IYYY. This also gets on the same state. So just keep it in your specific. So signed years. When I insert PC dates, I will show you. Okay? First we should know how to insert PC dates. Then we can know what are the other things we can do. So we can always know the 4-digit years only by indicators. The same construct you just watched now. Select e-name, and then we are trying to go with higher date, and then we are saying 2_ char of, you are saying higher date, IYYY, let us say, with the century, and then we are just going with CC, B.C.